Buonasera, paisani, and welcome back to another edition of Big Mama Siciliana live on Instagram for Big Mamas Gather. Thank you for joining me once again. As you can see, last week there was a winner of the basket that I was announcing on my lives, and the lucky winner was Emilio Izzi. So I will be bringing him the basket within the next few days. There will be another one because a lot of you were upset that you didn't hear about it or you didn't get a chance to enter. So there will be another draw at the end of August for another basket, and I will be presenting it on my live. Remember that even though I post after the live, the announcement of the winner will be on Facebook. And this is all to help raise funds through the Italians of Montreal and Friends online store. It's friends for the number 4 cause.myshopify.com. So you can all go there and shop and it'll get delivered. There's a small delivery fee, or if you're local, you can pick it up, or we might be able to deliver. We'll see. So please, guys, I encourage you to check out the online store. Tonight we have a guest that's an Italian American who asked to be on my live because she wanted to speak about a few things. Her name is Nicole Roxanne Alberto. So she will be joining us shortly. Guys, again, I want to remind you that everything I do for your entertainment. If you want to be on my live, you can just contact me in private and I'll set up a date for you to come on. It's all in good fun. If you're a business, we can promote your business. If you want to talk about a certain topic, we can do that too. So I'm open to anything and everything. To entertain others, to inform others, and to distract us a little bit about what's going on in the world with this COVID and all this this pandemic that's going on. So there we go. There you have it. So guys, let's bring on Nicole Roxanne Alberto, and let's see what she has to share with us. Here we go. I'm gonna add her on.
Buongiorno!
Hello.
Kamusta?
Bene, how are you?
Io so così. On New Jersey, we had bad storm.
Oh, wow. Well, I hope you're staying safe.
I just had to call. I'm sorry I was late. I had to call 911 because we have power lines in the back of our complex that have tree limbs leaning over them.
Oh, wow. That's dangerous. Yeah, you did good to do that.
Yeah, that's why I was a little bit late. Sorry I'm late, everyone. Hi from New Jersey.
New Jersey. Wow. You've been living there all your life?
No, I just moved here from New York City about 4 months ago.
Okay. So tell us about yourself.
So I'm 38 years old. I live with my fiance, Alan. He's half Polaco and Puerto Ricano.
Okay.
He just hit the big 4-0 on June 18th. So happy birthday!
Hey, happy birthday.
Our dog just became a certified ESA service dog in the United States. He can travel anywhere in the 50 states domestically on a plane, and he cannot be denied like access anywhere. I don't have to pay service fee for apartment. I don't have to pay service fee for him for like registration for the apartment or anything. So my little guy just got his certifications today.
Great. And what do you do with the dog that he's the certified dog? What does he do?
He's an emotional service support animal because this is a huge topic too that I wanted to touch base with everybody on in Montreal and United States. As everybody knows, Robin Williams died of a silent killer from anxiety and depression, and that's a huge thing that's not touched on. It's considered taboo. I suffer from anxiety and depression and PTSD. Due to a previous relationship that I was abused in. So my dog became my service animal.
Okay. Yes, I too myself have suffered and still coping because you never really heal from depression, and I have anxiety, especially with this pandemic. It escalated again, even though you try to keep it under control. So I'm glad that you're coming up with this topic as well as the solution for it, or at least a little help to cope with it for those that don't know how to cope. So service dogs, yes, that was the first thing that was suggested to me by a therapist, was to get myself a dog, an animal, and yes, it helped me immensely. They're like your little baby, your confidant, your pal, and it's like they feel what you're going through. They feel your emotions, so it helps you cope, and you could just see the love in their eyes. I mean, they're just amazing animals. So it's great that you're doing this. So how do people contact you or get in touch with you if they want to spend some time with your dog? Because you're in Jersey, but I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people watching that are in Jersey and New York that you can touch base with. So tell us more about your services and how they can contact you.
Well, my dog was certified by the emotional pet supports. My mom had hooked me up with the link because my mom is certified medical assistant, so she constantly gets people in and out. She works for an eye doctor's office.
Okay.
So she gave me the link, and I called them. You take an exam based upon your needs. They hook you up with a doctor. You speak to the doctor over the phone. And then after you do the survey, they determine what kind of a support animal that you need. And you're able to get the paperwork for $90. It's for a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you could take the dog anywhere. You could take it on the plane. You could take it on the train. You could take it to the restaurant. You could take it to the supermarket. And they send you a little identification card. And he has a round little medallion that says Certified Service Dog by the United States of America. And it has the official government seal of the United States of America on it.
Wow. So they can have the dog for how long or how short of a period?
The dog is mine. The dog is only certified to me. He's only my emotional support animal,
Oh,
not for
so
other people.
okay, so you don't like rent them out, if you want to say that.
No, I
He's
don't
just
rent
for
him
you.
out. He only serves me.
Okay, but if people want to have a service dog, but they can't really like have it as their pet, is there services where a service dog goes to them and they can spend some
Yes,
time
they
with the
could
dog?
look that information up online, and they can basically find out, like, for example, they could go to a hospital. Sometimes they have like hospital dogs here in the US that go to like sick people to help them out with the dogs for emotional support therapy, or they have certain people that have these certain dogs trained that go to the people's home for emotional support therapy.
Oh, great. Yes, because as you know, because you follow me, you watch all my videos. I'm part of an association, an organization that supports Galileo, which is a school for students with special needs.
Yes.
And they've started doing this. They have like 3 or 4 dogs come in maybe once or twice a week, and they spend time with the students, and it helps them like open up to them, and it gives them a bit of confidence, and they end up building a relationship with the
I know
animals.
exactly what you're talking about. I work, not only do I also have a disability myself, but I also work with children with special needs. I've been working with children with autism for 12 years.
Wow.
My children this year that I currently have, that I just transferred from New York City public schools to New Jersey public schools. My class this year is going to be medically fragile. I will
Okay.
have 3 students in wheelchairs, and the rest of my students are all autistic.
Oh, wow. So you know what it's like to be around autistic students and
Yes.
children. So that I mean, I tip my hat to you. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of goodwill to be doing that. It's one thing to be a teacher and teach regular kids, but to be able to teach and interact with autistic children or children with needs, I mean, I tip the hat to you. I'm sure you do
Thank
a
you.
fabulous job. So this touches home with me because, like I said, we raise funds to help these schools, and to give them an opportunity to go on a field trip or to have a sensory room, which we just opened up right before COVID. So it's so important that these children don't fall through the cracks. It's so important that they get the resources that they need in order to be able to develop and be helped with their disability. So thank you so much for that.
I really appreciate it. And, I love what I do. I wouldn't give it up for the world. I mean, my students are so important to me, and I want to make sure that my students, get what they need. Like, I was talking to one of my parents. It's so funny. Like, it's such a small world. I just moved to this apartment complex, and I met one of my students before school even started,
Wow.
as we were in the middle of this global pandemic. The mother was telling me that her daughter is 8 months behind
Oh, wow.
speaking, and just starting to say like mama, dada, putting, small 3-word sentences together. And she stopped speaking. She lost her speech from the pandemic.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because it makes them regress because they don't have the access to the resources. So it kind of like interrupts their development. It interrupts their routine, and it must be really, really hard for the families to see them regress rather than progress.
Exactly. So when we go back in September here, I've already gotten my schedule. We're doing we have a class of 12, so it's 6 for the A group on Monday, Tuesday, and then 6 for the B group, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday is all virtual.
Okay. Okay. Well, you're coping as much as you can with the norms that the government gives out to still keep helping these students because they need it so much. I mean, you're the like a frontliner. You know how much they need to be with you and how much they need to have the resources to stimulate them and to keep them progressing. So thank you very much for what you do. It's amazing. You're just an
Thank you.
amazing
I
person.
appreciate that. I feel like teachers are so like underthought about, and we should be just making more money, and it's really not fair.
Yeah, it is. And I think a lot of parents during this pandemic realized that because they had to homeschool their kids. Whereas, we're used to so much bringing them in the morning, picking them up at night, and that's it. Deal with them, teach them. But now that the parents have to take on the role, I think now they realize the value of teachers, what they
Hmm.
have to go through. And especially when you have rowdy kids or kids that lose their attention span and you got to get that interest back in them so you can teach them whatever it is that you need to teach them. It's very, very hard. So I hope that the government sees this and realizes that they're worth more than what they're getting paid and worth more than the credit that they're getting.
Exactly. And that's such a problem in the United States. Education is so underfunded. That's why we're behind with a lot of countries. And I feel now that they're using teachers in this country are using this as a crutch now. Oh, I don't want to go back to school. I'm afraid I'm going to get COVID. So if you feel that way, then why did you be a teacher? You're an essential worker. You need
Exactly.
to be there for our children's not only cognitive state now and developmental state. You also need to be there for their mental state right now because they're going to be in a fragile state and they're not really going to understand what's going to go on. They're not only going to be able to have to talk to mom and dad, they're going to come to us. And you know what? As much as they say 6 feet social distance, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do 6 feet of social distance. I'm still going to give my kids that hug that they need. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm pretty much the only one that's going to be there for them.
Exactly. And they need it. I mean, my kids are teenagers and it was nerve wracking and they just went out of their minds being home for 4 months, not being able to be with their friends, even though, you FaceTime, it's not the same
It's
thing.
not the same.
We're humans. We need social contact. We need that hug. We need that fist bump. So not to have that was a big, big hole in their life. So I can only imagine what it's like for an autistic child who can't really understand what's going on. Like, why am I stuck at home? Why can't I go outside? Why can't I go to the school? So parents have a big responsibility of explaining this in a way that they can understand and accept without scaring them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us too. It's hard for us humans. I basically picked up and left in the middle of a global pandemic. I actually waited a month. I was supposed to move in April. I waited a month to collect more money. Since I've been here in New Jersey, it has been one tribulation right after another on top of the global pandemic. My fiance is currently furloughed until after Labor Day. He works
Wow.
Yale University in New York
Okay.
City at the Yale Club of New York. And right when the global pandemic hit, I was right in the middle of transferring from New York to New Jersey. I was supposed to start school April 4th. Right in between that Friday, right before I was supposed to start school, that Monday, April 4th, because I was supposed to move, my principal called me and said, "You're furloughed." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm furloughed?" She's like, Governor Murphy is shutting down schools for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And the worst part is in New York, I abandoned ship on my other school. My last day was supposed to be March 31st. I did not even get to say goodbye to my students that I had for the school year.
Oh,
I didn't get to say goodbye virtually. I didn't get to say goodbye in person. I didn't get to basically do anything. And that's very painful because I had a few students that were graduating that, I wanted to say goodbye to. I didn't get to say goodbye to them. I wanted to say goodbye to my students that I was attached to, which was like four of them. And
yeah,
that really killed me. And now, like, I talked to one of my coworkers to find out how they're doing because she has my kids.
yeah,
And, I really miss them. And since I've moved here, I've had to, on top of deal with my anxiety and depression, I have a tenant above us who's a living nightmare.
oh no,
No, no va bene. Tornagli
no.
ad Atadoro a fangolo stupido. A short sighted nothing.
Wow, that's the worst thing that could happen is to have bad neighbors or bad tenants up living above you or next to you.
Yeah, he's a
Wow.
short sighted nothing, and he thought that he could get tough with me, but I put him in his place, and it I ended up having to have the authorities involved.
Oh no.
Ay, Madonna mia.
Wow. What one hurdle after another, but you know what? Think of it as a stepping stone to move forward because no easy road is smooth. So I'm sure you'll come out a winner at the end, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. This is why I post a lot of positive quotes and positivity because
Exactly.
we don't know what everybody's going through. All we know is what we're going through, but we need to be understanding. If
All right.
someone upsets you, you need to understand maybe they're having a bad day, maybe things aren't going their way. Be more understanding, more open to forgiveness. You're going through your own hell, and so people should understand without you having to explain that life as it is hard. So I
Life as
mean,
it is right now is very hard for everyone.
exactly. So I mean, on top of the pandemic, we have these little petty arguments with people. So just a positive word, a positive thought, even a smile will brighten up someone's day. So
Exactly.
I really hope that my posts and my words will lift you up and give you that positive outlook to never give up because I know what depression is. I know what anxiety is. So the fact that you have a service dog is even a bonus because it helps you cope. And I know because I lost my dog 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
I miss her dearly, and she was my therapy. And guys, if you're going through something, I'm sure there's someone you can talk to. I'm sure there's something you can do. Uh,
Reach out. Do not
Reach
be afraid.
out.
Call the suicide hotline.
Exactly.
Even if you live in the United States, no matter what state you live in, there's probably right now local things set up for you that you could reach out and call and speak to someone. It's not okay to be alone. If you feel like you're alone and you want to take your life, then you need to, you know,
Reach out.
reach out.
Yeah,
You need to reach out.
absolutely.
It's very important. So many people suffer it, and it's a silent killer.
Yes, it is. And a lot of people think that they're going to be a burden to others, but no, we want to help. We just don't know that you need that help. So the minute that you ask for the help, I'm sure whoever you ask will be very open and willing to help you because every life is precious. Everyone's life is precious. No one is worth losing their life. So please reach out to the hotlines, reach out to friends, reach out to families, reach out to anyone you feel comfortable with to talk about what's going on, to give you encouragement, to give you that crutch to hold on to give you that little bit of hope. So I want to thank you very much for your words. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Tip of the hat to you. I
Thank you.
hope things get back to normal, whatever normality can be. And I hope that you'll have a great year with your new students. And I wish that you do reconnect with your other students that you left behind and at least touch base with them so you can stay in contact because I know there's always a relationship that builds between a teacher and a student. So don't give up on that. Keep in touch with them. Keep talking to your friend that's a teacher so that you get an update as to how they're doing. And I'm sure things will turn out well. And with the tenant, well, I mean, que será, será. You know?
It will be. Yep.
Just hang in there. Hang in there.
Yeah, I wanted to touch base on some of my other things that I had mentioned too. One of my dirty hobbies is I'm an adult collector of American Girl dolls.
Okay.
I'll show you. I'll flip my camera.
Oh, wow.
And I like
Yeah,
unicorns.
I've seen those. I've seen those. Every time I go to the States, I see those, and they're so beautiful. I don't know which one to choose.
Yeah. And also a big Disney fan, just little things. It's important to travel. It's important to make sure that, you just get away every once in a while. Everybody does.
Yeah, we need to distract ourselves from our daily routine. And I like the fact that you mentioned Disney, because Disney is everyone's place to be a child, to be a kid.
Hmm.
And I think the kid in us wants to just pour out when we're there. I've been there twice, and it leaves me in awe every time. It's a
I
wonderful
know.
place.
I've
It's
been there 9. I'm going for my 40th birthday in 2022. Um,
wow.
when I turned 40, I haven't been in, I think it's 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah, well, it's been a while for me too, but I mean, it's so magical. I'm like a kid in a candy store when I'm there, and I'm so excited
Yo,
to see Mickey. I love Mickey.
yeah, I love all the Disney characters. I'm a huge, ¿cómo se dice? Like thrill junkie. I have a Six Flags season pass.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So I could come visit you and go to Montreal
You could come to La
and
Ronde.
go to La Ronde, and you could get in for free.
Great. Yeah, but not right now. I
Not right
hope you do
now.
that. I hope you take that trip and come see me in Montreal. We're going to have a blast. We're going to do a lot of lives so people can see what they're missing out on. And I'll
Yeah,
show you a great time. Hopefully, this pandemic will open up the borders and you can come. It will be my pleasure to meet you and spend time with you.
definitely. Like the only way I know how to get to Montreal, Quebec, is from New York Penn Station, and I take the Adirondack line straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Easy as that.
Lake George is beautiful. I go to Lake George every year, which is halfway to you.
Yeah, I've been to Lake George. I went there for the bike show one weekend, and it was amazing.
Lake George is an amazing place. They also have Six Flags Great Escape. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, I've been to New York City. Like we just, sights went some sightseeing and all that. I've been to Florida because I got family there. I've been to Disney World, South Daytona, Fort Lauderdale. That's about it. I haven't gone further than that. So I hope to go back to the U.S. and explore other cities and other states. I like the U.S. I don't know. Politics aside, I like going to the U.S. I
This
find,
pandemic just like needs to just like away, be gone. I never thought that we would experience anything like this in our nighttime. I heard
yeah,
about the 1918, 1920 pandemic. It was all
yeah,
before we were all born. My grandmother wasn't even born yet.
yeah.
My great grandparents had just come here during that time.
Wow.
Because my grandfather was born in Italy.
Okay.
My mother's father, and he was born in 1917. So when the pandemic hit, he had just been born. He was like 1 year old when he
Wow.
came to the U.S. with the pandemic.
Holy.
So I
That must
think
have been quite a journey.
yeah, and my other great grandma, my grandmother's parents, which is my mother's mother, came through Ellis Island,
Okay,
and she
yes.
was told to go back. They wanted her to go back. She had pink eye,
Okay.
and they thought that it was something else. So they had nobody parlare italiano. No, she says, no parlare inglés, parlare italiano. He was saying that he needed a translator.
Oh, yeah, because back then that's all they only knew their own language.
And they had no translator, and they waited 8 hours for somebody to come who could translate Italian to vouch for them. Otherwise,
Wow.
my great grandparents would have got turned back through the gates of Ellis Island and had to go all the way back to Italy
Wow, you see that?
with 3 kids at the time.
That's hard. That's
And the
hard.
rest of my grandmother's brothers and sisters were born in the United States.
Okay.
So that makes me grandma, mommy, third generation Italian American.
Fantastic. And which part of Italy were they from?
Mom is Sicilian and Barese, and
Okay.
dad is Sicilian and Napolitano. So therefore, I'm 75% Sicilian, 15% Barese, and 15% Napolitan. Most mom's parents were the ones who forced me to go to Italian school and learn to speak Italian.
Yes, and I'm sure you don't regret it now.
No, go to school on Sundays for Italian school every Sunday at Catholic school, And then I
Wow.
took it for another 8 years, 4 years in high school and 4 years in college just to keep up with it.
Nice, fantastic. That's amazing because a lot of American Italians unfortunately lost the language because back then, like you said, in your great grandparents' age, what their time, Italians weren't allowed to speak the language. They were there was prejudice against them. They didn't want to hire them to work. Like it was a different type of prejudice, but it was all against the
Hmm.
Italians. So they experienced all that, and I'm happy that you kept the language alive because not a lot of people can say that.
My mother is actually watching, Big Mama.
Oh wow.
Rosebud 1956 is my mom.
Oh, is she? Hi, Rosebud. Yeah, I see her all the time. She always likes my posts and comments. Hi, Rosebud. I'm talking to your daughter. What a coincidence. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I believe my aunt is watching too. My aunt is Calabrese.
Oh, it's okay. We're close. We get along.
Gastadora.
Testa dura, but we still get along. Sicilians have a
Yeah,
testa dura too. Don't worry.
yeah. My mom said hi to you.
Yes. Hi. Hi, Rosebud. Oh, she's so cute. Very
Yeah.
nice.
So my mother actually speaks more Italian than I do usually because my mom has to speak it at work. A lot of my
Oh,
mother's patients are first generation Italian.
yes.
So my mother is always speaking Italian.
Nice. Very good. So she
And
keeps
then
up.
when I go to school, because there's a big Italian population here in the towns that I'm in, Bloomfield, Nutley, Clifton, and Montclair, there's a lot of Italian people here.
Okay.
And I'm going to be translating this fall when we have parent-teacher conferences
Oh, cool.
as a translator. It's so funny. Our mayor of Bloomfield is Mayor Venezia. He's Italian.
Yes. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's very nice. It's nice to hear that the language stays alive, whether it's Italian or the dialect. I'm happy that the language stays alive and that you maintain it. Because if we don't do this, we're gonna lose it.
Yeah, like
We're
my
gonna
fiance now is training me to speak Spanish, so I'm learning Spanish as well. And his mother is teaching me Spanish, and she says to me, "Como se dice?" She said, "Do you understand?" I said, "Of course." I said, "Spanish is very similar to Italian." So now sometimes I'll speak half Spanish and half Italian. It's really funny.
That's okay. I go to Cuba. I took Spanish lessons in college, and
Mm.
I found it very easy to learn because of my Italian. But when I'm up there, sometimes I'll throw in an Italian word because I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but they understand. So it's nice to have knowledge of languages. I find it's the key to any kind of communication, and it opens up the key to the world. You can go anywhere as long as you know how to speak the language.
Yeah, my mother says with difficulty sometimes.
But that's okay as long as she puts in the effort. We have Elena Migliaccio. I'm in Fort Lee, Cliffside Park area. Hi,
Yeah,
Elena.
that's not. Hi, Eleanor from Bloomfield.
So, Nicole, I want to thank you very much for coming on my live.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'm glad that you brought up the subject of depression and about your service dog and about all the autistic children that you're helping. God bless you. I wish
Thank
you
you.
well. I wish you health, and most of all, please stay safe and,
Thank you.
and
You
and be
too.
careful. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, Bella.
So there you have it, guys. Nicole Roxanne Alberto. She has Italian roots from Sicily, Bari, and Napolitano, but she's 75% Sicilian. Fantastic. She speaks the language and she's keeping it alive. And I wish that you can all do that same. It's very important to keep our culture, our customs, our traditions, and most of all, our language alive. This is why I do the daily word in Sicilian, although it's not daily. So I try my best. It's because I want to keep the Sicilian language, the Sicilian dialect alive. So I encourage you all to follow me on YouTube. Big Mama Siciliana word of the day. I do them sporadically. I don't really set a date. When I think of a word, I just post it and it's there. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Of course, here on Instagram, you can follow me at Big Mama Siciliana. And I also have a YouTube page, Big Mama Siciliana, as well as my own personal public page, Leah Gentile. So guys, that's a wrap for tonight. It's 8:30. I want to thank my guest, Nicole Roxanne Alberto, once again. Thank you all for watching and taking the time to come into my live. Next week, I'll have another guest. E allora, come sempre, ci vediamo presto. Salutamu.